What's going on, good people? Welcome everybody once again. We are here at the show Building Stuff with Nova. I'm super happy to be with you. This is what we like to refer to as your virtual mastermind, makerspace, ideation laboratory, the place where you and I can build together. My name is Dr. Nehemiah Mabry, but hey, you can call me Dr. Nee. I am your companion. I'm your partner. We hang out, we chill. I learn beside you. I'm not the sage on the stage. I'm the guide by the side. And actually, sometimes I'm not even the guide. I'm your mentor in some cases, but your mentee in other cases. It all depends on what we're doing. Just as long as at the end of the day, we're building together. I want to say what up to everybody who's a part of the building committee. In case you didn't know, the building committee are those who will hang out with us anytime longer than 2 seconds. So if you just heard my intro, welcome. You are part of the crew. Whether you are on Twitch, shout out to Twitch. Drop something in the chat, Twitch. I want to know who's with us. Or if you are joining us on YouTube. Every now and then, we get to go live on YouTube. And I just want to say a shout out to everybody watching us on YouTube. I see you in the chat. Thomas, shout out to you. Shout out to Nova. Nova, how you doing? Let us know how you're doing in the chat, wherever you may be joining us from, whether it be in the United States or abroad. I'm coming to you live and direct from Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where I sit. But of course, Nova, we see our friends Nova are up in Boston. Let us know how you're doing, Nova. Shout out to Meta Dev Girl, who we're about to bring on in just a second. Today's a great day. Let me bring up the agenda because I don't want to waste too much time. We're going to have a great day ahead of us. As a matter of fact, today we're going to learn something. We're going to learn something that for some people, it's like a big, black box of understanding. It's stuff that we don't always understand. And that has to do with the subject of machine learning. Now, before I tell you about that particular lesson, if you will, or really interactive exercise that we're going to have with our guests, let me tell you about the guests. Our guest today goes by the name on Twitch of Meta Dev Girl, but let me show you her photo here in just a second. Her actual name is Jessica Vaughn. She is a software engineer and coding bootcamp instructor who knows firsthand what it's like to launch and grow a career in software without a computer science degree. That's right, without a computer science degree. She knows exactly what it's like. She removes friction, and she's going to do a little bit of that for us today for others on a similar journey by teaching with leading tech education nonprofits for adults and mentoring youth interested in the field. So if you're excited, Posey, we see you. Hi from Austin, Texas, over on Twitch. We see you in the chat. Get your energy together. What's up, His Zotness? First time here, Zen's Arcade. Please do me a favor and drop some love, some emotes. If you're on YouTube, some emojis. Let's get the energy hype and going as I present to some. Our partner, our friend, someone's going to hang out with us today on Building Stuff with Noah. None other than Meta Dev Girl, a.k.a. Jessica Vaughn. Jessica, what is up? How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I feel like that was like a nice hype intro for sure. So thank you, Dr. Nee.
Oh, it's only right. It's only right that we do it. We do it big for you. And I'm just gonna look at the chat to see people dropping in their emotes and their love. I want to know if you all can hear. If you can hear me well, if you can hear Meta Dev Girl well, if you can hear us well, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. You hear me well, right, Jessica? Okay, awesome.
I can hear you very well.
You see me very well.
I hope everybody's hearing this. Yes, I've been doing live streaming for quite a bit of time now, so you always got to just to make sure.
Always got to make sure. Absolutely. Herself said, hear you. Yes, we hear you both well. Thank y'all so much. Fizzy the Visionary. What up? We got somebody from your community.
Hey, Fizzy, welcome.
Hey, from Alabama, home of A&M. Let me say something about A&M really quick. I grew up down the street. Somebody that's a little overlap there from your community. I grew up down the street from A&M, walking distance.
I almost went to Alabama A&M.
Did
like
you?
Literally deferred my admissions type of almost went.
Wow. Okay.
That was my school back in the day, but yeah.
Bulldogs, Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Shout out to everybody down there in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama to be exact. Everybody in the HBCU community, super happy to have you. If you're here from Meta Dev Girls community, or you're part of our building community over on YouTube, you're part of the Nova subscription community, please do me a favor. If you haven't yet, hit follow on our channel on Twitch, and matter of fact, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube. So please let us know. We good to see you. I see you over on YouTube as well. I want to say this really quick, Jessica, before we get into machine learning, what we're gonna talk about, right? Training models. I want to ask if you heard of about escape rooms, right? You've heard of escape rooms?
Yes, yes. I've been to a couple.
Okay. Well, check this out. As a part of this project that you're coming, Nova building stuff with Nova, we have been designing an escape room with everybody here on chat in Twitch, our communities where we've been, coming to live every day right here. And we've actually went through a design process and a sketching process and currently in the building process of what will be the finale of building stuff with Nova, a 4-day engineering escape room. It's pretty dope. Like,
that sounds hard.
No,
because it's so many brains. It's so many brains on it. But I mean, the challenge is peak for sure.
It's a big challenge for sure. And now to clarify, we're not keeping people locked in somewhere for 4 days. It's basically a 4-part engineering escape room that we're going to challenge players in person as well as with the help of people online to be able to, solve engineering challenges and ultimately save the world from the doom coming in Y3K. That's our theme, Y3K.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad that was my first time hearing the full spiel. So.
Yeah. No, it's a whole lot. But here's what I want everybody in the chat to know. YouTube, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, we're going to have Nova drop an application link. And this is why this is so dope. We're going to select somebody, at least one person from our community that is going to be able to be a participant or a player in that escape room experience. You can apply. You can put your name in the hat and potentially be someone that we fly to Boston and put in a hotel and go through the whole experience. I'll be there. Nova will be there. We're going to have the whole crew ready to go, and it's going to be our finale. And so I had to let people know about that, Jessica, because we want to drop that link, particularly on Twitch. I'll let Nova decide whether we drop it on YouTube. If we don't drop it on YouTube, that means that you have to go over to Twitch to apply. But Nova, if you can do me a favor, please drop the application for our finale, the 4-day engineering escape room, so that everybody in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Twitch, can have opportunity to put their names in the hat. Sounds like a cool opportunity, right, Jessica?
I will put my name in with the quickness. So I definitely support that.
Let's get it. Look, I'm super happy for whoever ends up being. We're gonna get to meet you. And if you're not that person, you're still gonna have opportunity to participate. Meaning, in the chat, we're going to have like basically an IRL, in real life, and virtual sort of challenge. And so going through that process, it's going to be really fun. You don't want to miss it. Just take a look at the link that Nova drops in the chat so that you can apply. Hopefully it's coming soon. Goldie, it sounds good on YouTube. Yes, sounds neat. Absolutely. Yeah. Not 4 days straight. I love it. Yes. Not 4 days straight. A clockwork. We see you. Yes. All right. So Nova will be dropping the link here pretty soon. Though. What'd you say?
I said that would be the ultimate clickbait. Definitely go viral with like a 4-day escape room challenge.
Yes. So we dropped it just now in Twitch. Keep an eye out for that. But all right, let's talk about what we're doing today. We're going to be dealing with machine learning. All right. And tell us, what is it? Like, give us a nice definition. We hear all this. We hear AI. We hear all this stuff. Give us the quick definition, at least in your understanding and all that you've been able to accumulate.
I feel like the simplest way I can put it is, to me, machine learning is really just training some type of functionality you want on based off of preset data. So everything is all about learning from data. It's all about learning from data when it comes to machine learning.
So we're teaching the machine. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we're teaching a machine a new feature, but we're not programming it. Okay. We're letting the machine learn from existing data.
Got it. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and share screens. Y'all got to see, we're about to get really deep into code. I'm going to let everybody see your screen that we're sharing right now, Jessica, so that we can talk a little bit about what type of exercise we got going today. Don't be intimidated, y'all. I know you see a lot of text. I know it got dark real quick, but we shouldn't be intimidated, should we?
No, don't be intimidated at all. And for the record, machine learning is something that I have been looking into over many years and am still feeling very fresh and new to. But I'm the person that's just like, I do practice what I preach. So one of the main things I always tell people is like, teaching is a good way to
Yeah.
learn. It's a good way to solidify what you know. And I've always taught throughout my entire journey. So I am very much going to probably sound like I know way more than I do.
Oh yeah.
Um, so, don't feel intimidated. This is something that I believe that anybody who's interested in can definitely get into.
Got you. And you're self-taught, by the way. But like you didn't get a, as we just said in your intro, you didn't go to school and get this bachelor's degree and then all of a sudden like, hey, I know everything. Like you dove in head first, pretty much like we're about to do right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to say it's like 10 years now, since
Okay.
I started learning how to code. But no, I didn't like go to school for computer science. I actually left a mechanical engineering program
Mm-hmm.
to get into tech. So, I know we can kind of get into more of that. I can tell a little bit more about my background, but I definitely was like, hey, I can kind of figure out and pick and choose my own path. I saw that that was like a possibility. So I'm a little more, I would say I'm a little more patchwork now than truly like self-taught because I've taken courses here and there. I've
Right,
worked
right.
with different folks and I've worked in the industry, but yeah, I'm definitely like I am creating my own learning journey as I'm going along. And I do a lot of that live as well.
Yes, on Twitch as well. So what are we about to do now? I see training AI in image classification. What's the project?
Um, the project today, I actually have a visual. You think we should jump to the visual first just to kind of show people what we're
Yeah, yeah,
looking
yeah. Let's
at?
jump to the visual real quick.
Um,
YouTube, check out the visual. This is where we're gonna like visual as in where we're
we're
gonna
going to
end up,
be,
where we're trying to get to.
yeah, this is what we're trying to get to. So I'm just going to quickly upload a photo here. And this is a cute little dog, obviously. I have the
Oh.
option to hit submit. And then when I do, you notice I have a little output box on the right. It's very empty at the moment.
Yeah.
When I hit submit, then you see this says 100% dog, 0% cat.
100%.
So
There's
it's
no
a
cat in this. There's no cat in this dog.
no cat in this dog.
Okay.
No, it really means that this is how certain the score is.
Okay.
So it's like 100% probability that is a dog, 0% that it is a cat.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what we're doing. It's an image classifier essentially. So a model that allows you to basically determine like what are you looking at in that image. So in this case,
Gotcha.
it's been trained to know the difference between cats and dogs.
So to be very clear, like if you and I obviously we look at the picture and we're like, oh, that's obviously a dog. But computers, the machine that is learning through the data that we give it, we basically have to tell it how to, I guess, analyze or not manipulate, but how to handle that data in order to ultimately come to the same conclusion that a person who learns about cats and dogs would also come to by just uploading this image. That's what we're teaching it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what we're teaching it. But of course, when it comes to machines, they don't really see, right? We see with our eyes and we have brains and things like that. In this case, with machine learning, it's all data at the end of the day. A picture, as much as we are so used to like technology now and pictures and images and those just kind of being on the screen all the time in front of us, we forget that's just data. Those are
Yeah.
pixels and values that can be organized and structured in a way where you can actually have a machine learn from those patterns. So when you look at an image, you're really looking at a collection of pixels, different
Pixels.
colored pixels, and what patterns that you find in those pixels to distinguish like a picture of certain types of dogs from certain types of cats. And so for us, we see a lot of examples over and over again, and then we start to know the differences between animals. So that's kind of the similarity that it's built around.
Okay, real quick, if you put a cat in there, will it do it? Will it operate? So we got a cat image.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
got a cat. We can submit our cat here. Cat is
Boom.
100%.
Okay.
Now the real interesting thing will be what happens if we put something that is neither a cat nor a dog, but we can save
Ah.
that for the end just
Okay,
to
we'll
see
say that
how
for
it
the
would
end. What if you put like
behave.
a turtle or something in there? All right, cool, cool. Let's get to it.
Yes.
And by the way, I see a clockwork over. Thank you all so much, Sybil's World, Goldie. Get to see you, that Opal guy. A clockwork says dog in a sweater vest, hot dog or not hot dog. Someone said definitely hot dog. Like there are a lot of other aspects of the image that ultimately I guess we'll see can be added. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to what we're seeing now, basically training the AI to be able to interpret the data.
Right, right. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll let you kind of take the
No,
lead
no, no.
on
What's first? All
where
right.
you
What are
want
we
to
looking
start.
at? So again, we're looking at like this environment where you put in code. I got the links over here, but I'm gonna stay on your screen right here.
Okay.
What are some of the first things we need to know if we're gonna program something like this?
All right, so first I'll show y'all around the resources so that way you'll actually be able to distinguish between some of the files I'll be looking at today. I believe we have a link for this, but I put together just like a section in this GitHub repo. So this is the actual and a GitHub repository. It's just this is where I stored the code if you've never been on GitHub before. So
Mm-hmm.
that link will be available. So I have a couple things. Um, I do have a little glossary here. I think we talked about this. So there's
Yeah.
going to be some topics that we might cover today. I put some information there. And as we go along as well, if any new ideas pop up, I could just kind of take notes on them and then share them afterwards as well.
Okay.
Um,
And
these
then
are
we
the
get.
images we're going to be using to test out. So we just tested with one of those images. And then we actually have some code here. So today we're going to be looking at this example for image classification. This is just the section of code that would allow us to train the model itself. Um, so I'm going to be talking through that today with you all and just kind of giving some high level idea of what does a machine learning like development process even look like? What are the different phases? Because even if you do have software experience, machine learning like as a process is a bit different as well. So I think that's one of the first things that helps to understand, what are the different phases we actually go through in machine learning. We'll look at some code today, some very practical ways that you can actually do machine learning, even if you have limited background in that
Yeah.
specialty. And then this is our final code. So the live app that you all saw running, this is the corresponding code for that app. So it adds a couple little extra layers to it. So we can talk about that at the end, a little bit more about deployment and how to get an idea out in live relatively quickly.
Got it. Got it. And now, really quick with the resources over here on the left hand side of the screen, and I hope y'all are digging this. We get this is one of those things that if you learn, you can really open up a great bright future for yourself. Shout out to all of my engineering inclined people. But all these different things on the left hand side are they like packets of code basically that you have, and then you have README where it's more about reading, but then the other parts are like pieces of code, sections of code
Yeah,
basically.
so I guess if I could show you really quickly on the GitHub that you also have up, I believe. Here we go. This is a repository on GitHub. This is basically where this is the bigger directory that hosts all of that
All the
information.
pieces.
So
Okay.
so I have some other I have previous AI examples. This is something I'm slowly adding to over time. So I have
Ooh.
different AI examples in here already that so you can see if you look at other directories, you will see other talks. The READMEs are where you would start. They will take you to the necessary resources. The .md files, that's just something called Markdown. It's like a simple way to format a file, uh, a plain text file. So that's kind of what we're working with. So today, Nova Training AI,
Nova Training
that's the
AI. Okay.
folder that we're inside of.
Got
So
it.
this has our README. README has glossary and just high level information for you. Image classification, we're going to break down this code today. And then app.py is a reference for the app code that is running live. So yeah, you'll be able to find any resources that you need here as well.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. And by the way, I hope you don't mind, Jessica. Yeah, we see y'all. Shout out to everybody in chat. I'm gonna put a few vibes on just for the mood. You know what I mean? There's some coding
Sounds
vibes on
good.
because when you code, do you listen? What do you do when you code? Are you listening to music?
I listen to AI music at the moment. I mean, when I'm not live streaming, when I'm live streaming, we listen to AI music in the background. But yes, I have to listen to some music when I get into like a working session.
Got it. All right, awesome. Okay, let's go. So first I need to, because I'm over here, I'm on the same thing you're in, right? And I'm gonna make sure that I'm following you. So I need to click on
Okay.
the image classification.
Yeah, we're gonna be working through this file, talking through this file today.
All right, this is my stream, chat. This is my screen I'm showing right now. I'm just showing y'all that I got the same thing going on over here. Mine is pretty bright, I'm giving me a nice little bright But that basically just preference at the end of the day, like depending on
It's a preference thing,
Okay.
yeah. But also if you spend a lot of time staring at the screen, like 8 hours a day,
Mhm.
then you can see why we're a little bit more open to dark mode. I
Got it.
actually use both though, for the record. I know some people care like more than others.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, first things first, we're getting to yeah, go ahead and talk me through. You're in the terminal. I see terminal is highlighted down there. Is that where we're about to work?
We are not about to work in the terminal right now.
Okay.
Actually, what we're going to be using is something called a Python notebook.
Okay.
So Python itself is a programming language, right? If you can use Python for different types of programming. So I've used Python for web development in the past. But in this case, we are actually working with a library that is based in Python. So this is a library, a machine learning library. It lets us do a lot of different like functionality that we want to do when it comes to training models. But yeah, it's based in the language of Python. Pretty much if you want to do like machine learning type of work, Python is a good language to learn and get some experience in.
Okay.
Because it's popular with data science.
Got it.
So yeah, this notebook itself is like an interactive environment that we can use. So this is more for experimentation, a little bit more for education as well. So I'm able to put different context in here and break the code up into smaller chunks. But ultimately, this document, when it's in a proper environment, we can actually run all the code in it effectively. So here in Colab, I actually have some code running now. Colab is just a space online where I'll be able to run that code, actively run that code, because my poor little computer probably wouldn't be able to train
all that. So
train
it takes
this
a lot
model,
of
yeah.
It takes a lot of, and I see people voting dark mode. That back to the question about dark and light.
I tell you, some people care. A lot of people care about that.
I love it. And Nova, by the way, just so if we can keep everybody up to speed, you mentioned Python. We got definitions we can try to drop in the chat occasionally, but we got Python as a programming language. A library. What is a library exactly? A library is just like
a library is just a collection of like different functionality that's pre-built for you.
Okay.
So in this case, it's a bunch of different we call them functions, like small reusable chunks of code. So it's a bunch of different functions that we can use that are specific to in this case, machine learning, different functionality we need for machine learning. So I do have a couple of those in the glossary actually. So
Fast AI
Python.
That's Python, and you don't have to do this too. I'm gonna see if Nova can help us
out.
Oh
no, it's all good, but I have some. I'm gonna add some as we go as well.
Okay, so library. Okay.
Because you asked me about a library.
Yes.
Yeah, so I can make sure I add those.
All right, cool.
Don't mind me, y'all. I'm used to like live, like people know I live code all day, so I'll swap screens real quick and write something down.
Quick.
Hopefully it won't be distracting though. But yeah, so continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we want the real. So walk us through this. Continue to walk us through.
Okay. Yeah. So first, I guess I want to take a step back before I even jump in here, because I feel like that's where we want to get to, of course. But at a higher level, so when it comes to like machine learning in general, to me, my stance on this is like, as developers, and I've been saying this for like many years now, actually, I have receipts that as developers, like this is a key essential like skill set that we need to understand, even if you do not specialize in machine learning. Now, even more so, that is very obvious to people, but I've been saying this for like years now. Actually, you would notice that the repository that has all these examples in it started back in 2020, I think, when I did so I've been advocating, just over time. I know that this is a field that I'm invested in, but I also want our developers to understand like this is a skill set that you should understand, or at the very least know how it fits together with the other work that you do.
Right.
So you can go ahead.
No, I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to make sure that you're saying, like, when you say skill set, you're not just talking about programming. You're talking about the process and the logic behind machine learning. That's the skill set. So not just the coding language, but like the logic behind machine learning.
Yeah, I think like when it comes to machine learning, understand what it is and how it fits into the general development landscape.
Okay.
Because, front end development is one world that you can work in when you're building the visuals of a website. Back end development is one world you can work in where you're building the functionality of the website, maybe interacting with the databases, right?
Yeah.
You could do mobile development, and there's all different specialties. And machine learning is now coming into a lot of our specialties
Yeah.
because you may have an application that you build, but there's some desire or need for a machine learning based feature, not just a regular programming based feature.
Yeah.
When I got really passionate about this, like around 2017, that was a point where like research that was being done and being used in the machine learning space was starting to get translated into libraries where developers who already knew how to program could essentially say, oh, I know I'm trying to do an image classifier. I don't need to write the code from the ground up on the image classifier. TensorFlow basically has like all the features I need.
All of the code already written, basically.
I just write with a library like I'm used to as a developer, right? As developers, we use libraries and frameworks all the time. So I just see this as another slice of that. So at the very least, understanding how to integrate with existing tools or the actual feature set, or knowing how to distinguish between if a feature actually belongs to AI or if it's really just something you can program. So that's kind of what I mean when I'm saying understanding machine learning and basically how it affects our day to day as programmers.
Got it. I got a question. I want to save it because I want to continue to let you make some progress. But I have a question. I'll come back to it.
Okay. Yeah. So I got started because, like I said, they started making libraries and things that really just made it a little bit more manageable to jump into machine learning and just try it on different projects. So one of the resources that we're using today, which is you'll see like Fastbook, you'll see FastAI. FastAI is a library that is basically designed around machine learning. So in this case, instead of me having to know how to build every single piece of a machine learning model from the ground up, they have they're going on best practices and industry standards to actually code all that logic for you. So then you can just kind of feed in your data. You can focus on which types of models you might want to train using different options that they give you, and then ultimately be able to deploy a model as well. So that means like I want to be able to integrate my model into an existing project.
So you're basically taking, and this is really big for those who don't know, like there's a big like open source community around those who code and program, and so you're able to go and grab, I guess, models, right, like this, and like import it into what you're building. And that's essentially what I see FastAI.vision is. Like you're basically taking an entire, you're basically building blocks. You're taking building blocks that other people created and like making your own thing. That's an amalgamation of different pieces.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So nowadays, something that's different from back in 2017. In 2017, it was just a big deal that we had computers that could actually process models, and you could train something in the cloud, online. You could train something, and you can actually finish it, because there was a very long period in time where different different ways that they wanted to train models, like theoretically it could work, but computationally we couldn't. Like we had no technology that could actually do the calculations in a reasonable amount of time.
Wow.
So around 2017 is like a time frame where the processing power completely caught up with AI research. So that's why you had like a little mini boom at that point, because you're taking all this research and now just throwing it at some big data center that Google has or something. And you actually can train something out of this.
So in other words, and shout out to, I see DuckTales, I see a lot of people just talking about the fact that technology catching up and all that kind of thing. Basically what I just heard you say is that we theoretically knew how to do this for a while, but we just got to a point to where computers are able to take the amount of data that's involved and process it with some sort of level of efficiency because you have like Google processing centers, you have all these like server farms, things like that. That's basically where you are. So that is that a limitation when it comes to building things? Like it's not always the idea, but it's the processing power. Is that what I'm
the
getting?
processing power when it comes to machine learning? Like, yes, because a lot of other types of development you can get away with doing it on your computer, you know, or maybe even building up a machine. But when it comes to the type of AI models that are developed nowadays, you need like a huge amount of processing power. It's very expensive, very, 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 very expensive to train bigger models.
Yes. All right, cool. Well, we need processing power. Shout out to Nova dropping a lot of links in the chat. Appreciate it. If y'all have any questions, I see you, Brian from Buffalo, over on YouTube. If y'all have any questions, I'll try to bring it to Jessica while we are on in this process. But I'm excited. Continue.
Okay, so yeah, so we're going to be we're in Python, so all of this is based off Python programming, but we're going to be actually, I feel like this might be a little dark. Please let me know if the contrast is bad on this theme because I don't love it. But I'll keep going for now.
Okay.
So yeah, you're going to be importing or we're going to be importing the fast AI.vision. So we're importing basically everything in here. This little star right here is just kind of like a wildcard selector. So it basically is allowing us, instead of importing very small components, we can import everything so we have full access.
The whole thing.
Yep. So this will give us different types of functions that we have available that is based around, in this case, computer vision. So when they're saying vision, usually that terminology is computer vision. Okay. So this would be like anything I'm trying to do with images, or this can also be video as well.
Is that a play on words? Because like we recognize things through our vision, but we know that the computer's doing data analysis. We're calling it vision because but it is computer vision. Yep. So our vision is based on eyes, but computer vision technically is based on data. Boom, that's a bar right there.
It's an interesting space to get into. Funny thing about computer vision is a lot that you typically see it. Obviously, you see like image-based use cases. You just apply that to computer vision, but you technically, if any type of data set that you could visualize and be able to learn from, you could probably do some computer vision training across that. So like I'm all for the whole like research side of things. That's what I really want to get into. So I find those like crossovers to be interesting.
As you walk through this, first thing, my bad, as you walk through this, and I'm just curious, is there any way to like zoom in? Because I guess that's another thing in terms of visual, like zoom in on the font. Clockwork was saying, okay, cool. All right, cool.
And all right. And I can get rid of this for you.
Okay.
I accidentally made this one. Okay. Yes.
All right. And y'all might need to go, by the way, chat, you may need to go full screen on this one. This is a full screen type of stream. Just so that you know, this is a full screen type of stream. All right, go ahead.
That's fair. Okay, so the first place that we have to start when it comes to machine learning is always the data. The fact that there's literally just one single line here, by no means should this like give you an indication of how important this is in the overall scheme of things. This is the most important part. And that's really hard for people to get their heads around, especially programmers. You have to have data because your system is learning from data. In this case, with the library that we're using, they actually have some preloaded data sets that you have access to. So these are open and available data sets, but they make them really like easy to import directly into your project just by running a line of code. So
are those pictures? The open data sets, they're basically pictures?
In this case, it's a picture data set. Okay. This one is based off of Oxford IIIT. It's a pet data set. So,
a bunch of cute little animals in there. Pets, okay.
Yep, 7,349 dog and cat images, and then they covers 37 breeds. So that's the data set that we're starting from in this case.
Okay, got it.
This is also would be considered relatively small, I would say. But because we're going to be doing something called pre-training, we can actually get away with a much smaller data set because we're going to be combining that with a pre-trained model. So This is my favorite thing about this new wave of AI, like innovations on the developer side. We now have things like pre-trained models where somebody else already did all the work of like training a huge model, however much money it took them to train that
with
model,
their processing
and
power
then
and all of that.
with their yes,
Yeah.
but it's generic, right? It's a generic starting ground, so that we can bring a smaller data set in on top of that to make it more customized to our use case.
Got you.
So this is like that's my favorite part, because still back a few years ago, I would have had to do this part by myself.
All of that part. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So in this case, we have something called like a data loaders. This is like a concept in the library. So they have different types of data loaders. Images are one type of data. I do a lot of like I do a lot more work with things that come in like a CSV format, columns of data and things like that.
Spreadsheets,
but so they support spreadsheets ultimately.
Yeah.
But they support different types of data, and depending on what kind of data set you're working with, that's going to determine basically, what features you might have available to you.
Okay.
So this is pre-made for us by Fast AI.
And is this? And by the way, chat, I want y'all to know, if you are interested in coding, go ahead and say, hey, I want to learn how to code. I want to learn how to do AI. I want to learn how to do machine learning. Let me know. I want to know who's out there, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Twitch. I want to know who's really finding some value here. I see we got a little bigger, but is this basically, Jessica, is this what we call functions right here? Because I see dot, from, name, funcs. Okay. All right. Yeah. So what is a function?
Well, this one is technically a class on the front end, and then this is a function on the back end.
All right, break that down. What's the difference?
This functions. So the class, you could think of it a little bit more as an organizational structure. So inside of a class, you can have many different functions that are all related. So inside of the image data loaders class, you have a bunch of different functions that you can use for that particular type of data. So it's a way that we can organize our code a little bit better as developers.
Got it. Classes. And then
there's some technical nuances to it as well, but that's kind of the purpose it serves.
Oh, I'm picking up what you're putting down. But class, and then there's functions within, multiple functions within the class. All right. So you create an image data loaders class from _name _function, open parentheses. When you open the parentheses, now you're about to give it what? Like more detail?
Parameters, yeah,
okay.
Parameters.
All right.
So in this case, like you said, it's more detail. So we are providing, when you see like commas like this, it's a series of different values. So instead of providing one value, in this case, we're providing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different values.
Different values that mean different
and
things.
These are all different type. Yep, they all have different types that I'm providing. So in this case, I give like a specific name of the value I want to provide, and then I give the value here. So valid percentage 0.2. That's the validation percentage, I think. That's like
20%.
It's part of how we split our data up. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, based off of the image data loader, if we use this function in particular to structure our data for training, we have to give a path. So I have a variable called the path. A variable is kind of like a function, but way smaller. A variable is just like one piece of data stored under a name, as opposed to the function, which is like a bigger chunk of code.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. And
so this is one variable. This is actually calling another function. And then the result of that,
yep. All right.
Yep. Call another function, and whatever you get back from this function is going to be passed as the second value.
As the second. Okay.
Yes. And then like this one, we're just defining the values right here, hard coding them almost. And then I would normally look into the documentation, for the library, just to like specify what are all the different types of options I have for this function, and what do they mean, what format do I have to pass them in.
Okay.
So I wouldn't just like make this up off the top of my head.
That's what I was about to say. Like, by the way, and shout out to everybody in chat. Now, chat, we got asked the question. You heard me, Jessica. I said, how many people are interested? A lot of people said interested. Some people said, they've done some code with HTML. That's kind of the start for a lot of people. I remember back in the day, I used to like customize my profile on this old MySpace, the old school, the OG.
I give you one before MySpace. I
Uh-oh.
used to like customize my forum posts on Nick.com in like middle
I
school.
remember Nick.com. Wow.
We
now
had the marquee tags
not-
and stuff, man. Yeah.
You're not new to this. You true to this for sure. For sure. We see y'all on YouTube. Amir, shout out to you. Arjuan. Yes, we got some folks responding. All right. So really quick though, because I see you put a closed parentheses. So that basically ends what you're doing in that function. It's cool that
Yeah,
inside,
that ends all the values that we had to pass to that function.
Awesome. And then down below where you have learn equals vision underscore learning, like what are you ultimately saying there?
So in this case, now we are actually going to take the data set that we created here, and we're going to be, so that's DLS. You can see that's basically all of what we defined. Yep, we passed this in here. We're using Vision Learner from the API, and then we have to tell it which. So I said we were pre-training. We were using a pre-trained model. So the pre-trained model in this case is ResNet 34.
Okay. It already got a little bit of knowledge. That ResNet 34 already got a little bit of training.
It has 1.3 million images that has been trained on.
Yes. Yeah, they had a lot of processing power. I gotta say that for sure.
Yeah, and then the last thing is just the metrics. That we're defining, like, so one part of our training process is also looking at how accurate is the model predictions. So this more so speaks to us looking at the error rates and how we're tracking the accuracy of the model.
Okay, got it.
So we got this one line of code is what like actually allows us to set up our training, and then we can say learn.fine-tune, and that says go. Like this is go. It takes it takes this like at least like an hour probably, which is small.
You did,
but
so
yeah,
you spent an hour after you did that on your computer?
I spent an hour earlier today on this one. It's so it's the same code. I spent an hour for this to finish.
And it basically was just running through the data set. When you say spend an hour, it was running through the data set, checking out the error rate, checking out all the parameters and things that you told it to look for. And over time, it's like, all right, cool. After the hour is done, basically now your code or your machine is like, all right, cool. I got that.
Yeah, you can have like a little packaged file. Ultimately, I mean, all code is just a file for the most part when we do like programming. But in our case, I use something called like a .pickle. It's like a pickle file. I don't know why they call it.
Hold on now.
Yeah, it's
these names are tripping me out. Okay.
The PKL file. So that is the file that. So basically, once I do the training, I can export it to this format.
Does it have
in order to be used?
Jessica, and by the way, I'm gonna say this for the people who just joined us. Shout out to people on YouTube and our building committee on Twitch. We do this every day. This is Building Stuff with Nova. We've been coming to you every weekday, doing lots of streams, building stuff in real life, playing games, and even meeting with dope engineers like Meta Dev Girl that you see on your screen. She is showing us how how we would create a image. What is it? Classification model by training the AI / at the end of the day, we're doing machine learning. Machine learning is what's taking place. And what you're saying right now is you create this intro this is not the pickle file, is it? Like I see.
Nope. This is the code actually running right now.
So it's running.
Like
okay.
To train.
And down at the bottom, I see a percentage. Does that mean that it's still processing?
Yep, this is the amount of time that is. This is how far along it is, basically 4% of the way. It's a little bit misaligned, kind of, but if you notice, like these headings at the top, so like the error rate is in here, the time. But yeah, so this is basically just showing us a little bit of output as the model is being trained. We can kind of see some progress there, but it's very, it's limited. I could specify that I want to see more details or something like that. But yeah, so I can basically keep an eye on this until until it fully finishes. And that's like we mentioned before, when it comes to computing power with machine learning, a lot of things that we might want to do, we may not run on our computers directly, and I'm running this in Google Colab.
Google Colab, what is that exactly? Is that like a
space?
It's
this is an online like cloud-based environment, online environment where I can run code on Google servers
so you
or their data center.
Got it. So you
and it supports the notebooks, the Python notebooks in particular.
Got you. So you copy and paste your code into here and then let it do all of the compiling and all that?
Yeah. Or actually what I typically do is how I showed you all. I have this is a repository on GitHub. And I have these files already. So I could actually open up something from Colab through, I can link those two together actually. So this is already linked to a repository, if that makes sense. So so I actually can tie those together and say, hey, I got the code already here. Let me go in Colab and open up this code and run it without having to have it locally.
Got it. All right, cool. We'll keep moving. Shout out to everybody hanging
so
out.
That'll be in the background, for demonstration.
In the background, okay.
Of course. I know that this takes a long time.
Is that why too? Like software developers like yourself, like can do something, start something before you go to sleep and wake up, because it's going to take a long time, basically, at the end of the day.
Yeah, if you do training, sometimes training can take days. I mean, that's even for smaller scale stuff. Training can take days.
Okay.
And other things in development take a lot of time too, like deployment, which is basically when you take your code that you've been building and you send it to whatever live website that you have or live application that you have. That's like a whole process. Sometimes for really big systems, it can take like hours for all the code to be uploaded live and everything to get updated the way it needs to.
Got it. And everybody's hanging out. All right. So the next step after where we are now, what are the next steps involved in the training process after it goes through this? What's next?
So after we go through the training process, like I mentioned, in my case, I have actually used another tool that I integrated it with. So I export my model right into a Pickle file. In this case, I'm using Hugging Face. So like I said, it's similar to maybe I didn't say this. It's similar to GitHub, but more so for machine learning. So there's a community here. As you mentioned, there's open source models that you can use. A lot of the models that you might want to experiment with, they are hosted here as well, so you can actually use them. There's a lot of different tools. I'm using the Spaces in this case, and Spaces is basically allowing me to have a project where I'm going to deploy some AI feature.
That's what we ran into. I still have it on my computer. This is my screen here, like Spaces. When you say Spaces, this is basically on a online based area where I can see how my code would operate without having to worry about my computer being taxed to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It's this. So for me right now, this project is hosted through this space. And I think since I'm using like free spaces, whenever it's inactive, then it's just going to like spin down. Ultimately, they'll just deactivate it until somebody tries to visit it again. You'll see the page load up. So if you go like long periods of time and nobody accesses it, they can kind of save the resources. So if you come here like maybe in 2 weeks and it kind of hangs for a little bit, it'll spin up first. But yes, so this is the link that you have, the link that I am looking at as well. This is something that anybody could go and visit and interact with.
And what we're looking at
is that I built.
So you built this, we built this, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Chat, me and Metadare Girl, we out here building stuff, machine learning, we doing it together. But basically what we see now is the user interface, UI of our code. Break that down really quick. Like, how do you get from, again, telling the computer essentially how to think and how to see the vision, right, to the UI part? And I'm assuming that's called front end design too, right?
It's a level of front end in this case. So here, what is a little bit different about this code is I'm just using let me make it a little bit bigger too. I'm just using the pickle file, the model, right? So I load the model in.
Okay.
And then I have a function that allows me to run the predictions or return a prediction. So I should give, this is a function definition. So in this case, I should give one parameter, one value here. That's going to be the image. I will use whatever image that I receive to return a prediction. So you'll have the prediction and then probability score, some of the things that we saw on the page there. So that's just a little piece of functionality just to run the prediction. And then some of the other, like the UI components you see here, image,
height,
label.
width, you tell it how big that whole square part should be, right?
Yeah, those are coming from one additional library, which is called Gradio. I actually don't even know how they like to say this. So, you know,
Gradio.
Tomato, Gradio.
Right. All right, cool.
But this is like a small UI framework that allows you to really quickly, like, it's more so designed to integrate with machine learning projects in particular.
Gotcha.
So just a matter of saying import here. And I think pretty much the only other thing I did was, here's my categories. My image. So I'm giving like a standard default width and height. A label, which is where I'm going to see like the output. And then this is examples. This is that one little cat picture that automatically loads up.
That's the one at the bottom of the screen.
On the screen.
I have it on mine. So so this is that cat picture already there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you use the examples, the outputs, the inputs, and the function to define that interface. And then when you saying launch basically lets it display. So all this code basically makes that app run live. And go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I'm wondering, because this reminds me of like HTML. Somebody said earlier in the chat. By the way, if you have any experience with code, we want to know. I know some folks are coming in on YouTube. HTML, is that basically a front end language at the end of the day? Is that basically what you would say?
Yeah, HTML is a front end. It's markup, so it says like, hey, how do you want the site to be structured? What kind of content do you have? Do you have paragraphs, images, links? That's what the HTML component is. Okay. So that's what a bunch of these are doing for us.
Okay.
CSS is a little bit more. How does it look? Like, is it red, blue, yellow? How tall or how short it is? So in this case, they're allowing us to do more styling as a part of those methods that we have access to.
Front end or back end? Chat, vote. Which one sounds funner? Which one would you enjoy the most? Front end coding or back end coding? I would love to know in the chat, see what they think. Twitch, building committee, everybody on YouTube. Let's put a quick poll on the screen. Front end or back end? Funny. Somebody says both.
Actually, both. Full stack. I actually had a funny epiphany earlier where I was like, I know I'm not a front end person, because my solution, when it was like, hey, how are we gonna like put together all the resources? I was like, I'm about to put a GitHub repo and use like Markdown, because I do have a lot of front end experience. I just don't prefer like styling things at all.
But you can do it though. Like you got that.
I can. If you show me exactly how you would like me to, how you want it to look, right, I can build it, back and forth. And I am a full stack software engineer, so I've done a lot of front end and back end. If I could prefer it, I would not touch CSS. Okay. It's very tedious work for me. Hey. Right. So everybody finds different things that they like, love about technology. And that's what I like about it, honestly, because I started out as a front end developer. Slowly, I made my way into full stack. I did back end. I even did IoT work. I don't even know how that happened.
Internet of Things, IoT, you did that. Okay.
Yep, Internet of Things. Yeah, I did vehicle connectivity. So that was like connect the car to the internet and then receive all the signals back and forth from our system to the vehicle. In a secure fashion. In a secure fashion
without interruptions. Got it. And I want to get to, because you left us with a cliffhanger too, because I can see right here in the front hand, you have categories dog and cat. And you said, we're going to find out at the end what happens if we upload something that's not.
You are good. You're a good one. Because,
but let me ask you this. We're going to keep it just a little bit. We're going to hang it a little bit longer. Chat, we're going to see what happens when we throw something in there. Right. But I want to know really quick.
I got to figure out what picture I'm going to put in there.
All right. Maybe you can split the processing. But I want to ask you really quickly about your why. Like, what motivates you? You tell me. We told everybody that you're an educator. You do classes like this. Maybe you can drop a little bit of the things that you do online, why they should follow you, how they can learn more, but also give us again that why. What's the motivation? What's your mission in this type of work that you're doing?
Okay, so back when I was in college, I knew that I was good at math and science, but I didn't know what to study. I never had been exposed to engineering ever, which is kind of weird just because of my background growing up. So when I finally discovered engineering, I was kind of offended, just a little bit. Because I'm like, I've always been like that. Like I've been the math nerd for like my entire life, like went to the special high school, all that.
Yeah.
So the fact that I didn't have that exposure really, really like kind of blew me at like 22 years
old. They were keeping
old.
this from me all this
I'm
time.
like, what?
Yeah.
This is, and I have been searching like, what is it that I'm looking for, right? So my why really is centered around the fact that I think exposure is key and critical. And the accessibility that you feel when you look into a field that you're interested in. Do you see it as possible?
Right.
If you don't see it as possible, or you don't even know that it exists, then you're limited in your options and what you pursue.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very passionate about, like, I always teach as I go. Yes, that I learn from that, but it's really my like biggest effort is to just leave as many breadcrumbs behind myself as I can. If I can structure it into a program, I love to do that. So, I go live on Twitch and YouTube pretty much every day this year. I've been doing like a whole challenge. And that's where I show more of my behind the scenes of how I go through this process. Last year, I did 100 days of machine learning online that you can find on YouTube, where I literally was learning how to use these same tools that I'm recommending. I do some online programs. I do like coding boot camps and things like that. So you can pretty much always find me live though nowadays.
Yeah.
And I have a program coming up that I'm getting ready to run as well. Outside of that, I do a lot of tech work in the startup space here in Detroit. So we actually just ran a hacker house.
Yes. I love that you're doing it in Detroit, by the way. You got me excited. I'm a Detroit Lions fan. A lot of family in Detroit, but yeah.
I almost wore my Lions stuff today, but I did wear my Lions stuff yesterday. But yeah, I have we had a Detroit hacker house. So we're working with startups, myself and my co-founder, helping folks build MVPs for their products, right? So it's all about democratizing who has access to tech and those different layers. So I like the education side, and now I'm working more on the startup side as well.
Yes, and we can find you online everywhere at Meta.
I'm Meta Dev Girl, like everywhere except LinkedIn, and I use LinkedIn a lot. I'm usually on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, Meta Dev Girl. My YouTube channel is the one that we're building up right now. So if you are interested, definitely support us over there. That's why I was like, hey, can we also go live on YouTube? That's where I'm trying to spend my time. Yeah. But I'm Jasika Vaughn, obviously on LinkedIn. And I always welcome folks like reaching out to connect. If you have questions, you want to know where to get started, I'm here as a resource.
Yes. Y'all show some love for that as we get ready for our cliffhanger to be revealed. We're about to see what happens if this is not breaking it, right? Like if you send it something that's not what they call when they say breaking code. That's not the same thing, right?
No.
Okay.
In this case, it depends. There's classification. So there's like there's actual crashes versus logical errors, right? A crash would actually make the system go down. A logical error would be like, that's not how that's supposed to work, but it still somehow quote unquote works.
Got it. That's like what are you saying? All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. We're not gonna break it.
Okay,
we're not gonna break it. We
image.
tried to give a little poll, see if we can break. We're gonna see if we can give it a We're gonna give the model a question mark face. Let's see what happens. So if we submit, you got a photo? You need one.
I need one.
Okay, I want to.
Or
give it
do you
want
to do it, Dr.
I want to
Nee?
see what it says if I put a turtle in there. Let me see. I'll come to my screen and you let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go see your screen.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen right now, but you let me know if like you have an image. Are you want to find an image, or you want me to find one?
If you already do you have a? I was like, I don't want to use the image of myself. I feel like I'm supposed to type away. No matter which.
I don't want to image myself because I don't want it to say that I'm a dog. Like I would be pretty
okay,
offended.
let's go. Yeah, let's go.
By this code that you did, Jasika, if I'm falsely classified.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I'll get us a turtle really quick.
All right. So this is my screen. This is what we about to do, chat, on the way out. And thank y'all so much. Any good monitor recommendations? Oh, that's another one. I don't want to throw you off, Minute Girl. We get some questions.
I'm like, I just buy the cheapest.
You just buy. Okay, yeah, I got an LG over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to overcomplicate it, but that's a good
I got
question.
the
That's
cheapest
Rack
stuff on.
70. You all get your questions in. Maybe, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you this: as Meta Dev Girl is pulling up an image that we're gonna drop into this, and instead of being a cat or dog, we're gonna see what it says. Make sure you follow her as well. Go ahead and pull her up on any other platform, particularly my folks on Twitch. Build a committee, go over and show some love. I know we got some folks from her community here. Shout out to everybody from MetaDev's community. And again,
Yes,
let me do this
happy.
real quick too. I got a few more time. I got a little more time I can buy you, Jessica. But I want everybody to
Okay,
see
got it. Thank you. Thank you.
what we got. Here's what we got coming up tomorrow, y'all. Tomorrow we're gonna be creating some custom LEDs. Now Becky Stern is another great communicator in the areas of science and technology. And she's gonna be coming on, and we're gonna work into a project together. We're gonna be doing a little bit more coding. This is like the software engineering week. We got a great demonstration today, a little walkthrough with Jessica. Tomorrow we have
I
Becky
pulled
Stern.
up an image as well.
So what?
I pulled up an image as well.
Okay, cool. And then on Friday, by the way, y'all, we're gonna get the Minecraft back out, and we're gonna bring Dr. Pamela Gay back on the stream. We're gonna do some pretty good exploring with Dr. Pamela Gay. She's been on the stream before, and I can't wait to have her back. But now we're ready to go. Now we got a new image. I'm gonna come back to your screen. I'm gonna share your screen just so you can now so everybody can see. All right, we got a turtle. Boom. So you put the turtle up there. All right, y'all. Let's see. Wait, can we see what people?
You gotta give. I want to like people should type in the chat. What do you think it's gonna be? Because
What do you think it's
we
gonna
have
be?
percentages of cat and percentage of dog.
Will our training model think that this is a cat, a dog, or put something else if y'all think what it's going to be? We need to know. Shout out to Nova. Thank you, Nova, so much for dropping the IG. You all can definitely come connect with me as well. All right, we got Fizzy the Visionary, Era, DuckTales Dog, S-Rack says dog. All right, what do you think it's going to be? YouTube, what do y'all think? Would it show up an Era? I don't know. Like, again, that's the reason why I didn't want to put my picture up there, because I definitely didn't want to be...
But this is the beauty of code. Most of the time, you can just try it and see. And a lot of times, people will say like, "What's going to happen if?" And I'm like, "Just try it." You know, as long as it's not a live system
I know,
out there.
that's
That's
no
You can
animals
do
are
whatever you
harmed
want.
in the process of testing this code, right, Jessica?
yes, exactly.
All right, let's see. People,
All right,
most
I'm
people
ready
said
when y'all
dog. What does
are.
it say? Hey!
Oh, okay. 99% sure this is a dog.
It said it's 99% sure it's a dog. All right, boom. Everybody's like, boom, they got it. Jackpot. Y'all have some good guesses.
Good
all right?
job. That was good guesses. Yeah.
What does this
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
Jessica? For the programmer who turns in their code to their client or to their boss that says, man, I've trained my model. It knows how to recognize the images. And then they put in a turtle and it says dog. What does that imply really quick? What does that imply?
This mean they didn't have enough data points, or they didn't actually have enough categories. So like I said, it all comes back to the data. So they only trained, in this case, we only trained on dogs and cats. We did not teach our model anything else. So as far as the model is concerned, it's either a dog or a cat or nothing. That was the hot dog, no hot dog joke that somebody made earlier.
Boom. Hey, y'all show some love to MetaDev Girl, who has a phenomenal stream both on Twitch and YouTube. We've been simulcasting today. Make sure you all take some time to go and hit follow on the various platforms at MetaDev Girl. Make sure you also follow us right here on Building Stuff. Nova Building Stuff is our handle. If you're on YouTube, come over to Twitch. As a matter of fact, let me tell you why it's important to come over to Twitch, because we are now live with our applications. I'm gonna go ahead and let that drop again. Nova has it in the chat on Twitch. We're gonna drop the thing one more time. We have applications for our engineering escape room. It's gonna be our finale. It's gonna be our grand culmination of what we've been doing every day. We come to you live every weekday right here on Twitch. Sometimes we're on YouTube, sometimes we're on TikTok, sometimes we're on Facebook, always on Twitch. So the building committee knows we've been designing this escape room. We've been Trapology in Boston is now currently building, painting it. You'll see more virtual field trips on that. But we want to invite you to apply, to be a participant, to be a player of our 4-day engineering escape game. You come to Boston, meet me in person, hang out with the Nova crew, and see if you can save the world from the dangers of Y3K. So go ahead and hit that link. We want your applications. We've already got some in. Jessica, one more time, any final words before we say goodbye?
I hope I'll see y'all soon. Like I said, I'm live dang near every day. So feel free, come ask questions. I'm always here as a resource.
All right, all right. Thanks, MetaDev Girl. You already got the thanks in the chat. You all, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This has been a phenomenal stream. We're going to be right here tomorrow, also on YouTube. So until then, I will see you all. Take care and keep building. Peace.